Hello everybody. So I'm making my way through the Arrowverse, and today I'm going to talk about the crossover event Invasion. Let's go. So for the previous crossovers in the Arrowverse, I haven't given them their own videos. I've put them in other videos as just like an extra thing in them. But for this one, I'm going to give it its own video just to talk about it, since there's a lot to talk about, and since it has its, it has just one title. The others have had multiple titles for the episodes that are in them, but this one had one title for the entire thing, Invasion, and so that's why I feel like I could wrap my head more around putting it into one video than I could for the others. So that's why this one's getting its own video, while the others have been in other videos as like an add-on to it. But without further ado, let's just dive right into it, and I think this one definitely, once again, takes the crossovers to the next level. This one definitely seems like what I think of when, I think Arrowverse crossover. This is kind of what I kind of expected from them up until this point, and they hadn't, gotten to that point yet. But this is exactly what I imagined. You get all the characters together to defeat a threat to the world, and I think it was great. I like that they didn't really waste a lot of time getting the team together. They just kind of found out, oh, Dominators are trying to take over the Earth. Let's get the team together, and they just go boom, 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 boom. We got Team Arrow, we got Team Flash, we got Legends of Tomorrow, we got Supergirl, which was pretty cool to see her come in. And so, Supergirl's kind of a weird thing for me, because I saw the crossover that they did on that show in the 18th episode of Season 1 with The Flash, and that was kind of the episode that was going to kind of determine whether or not I would pursue watching that show or not. I ended up really not liking it. The only thing I liked was, Supergirl interacting with the Flash. Everything else, all the rest of the characters, I didn't enjoy very much. I just think, it could be just because it was, 18 episodes into a show, and maybe, you can't really do that with any show, and really, appreciate it. I just feel like I just didn't get good vibes, not Cisco vibes, just, good vibes, good feelings from just a lot of the characters on the show. I just don't really like it very much, so I decided I'm not gonna watch Supergirl. I like her as like a character coming in to interact with other characters. I'm fine with watching her for crossovers and stuff, but I just don't really want to really watch that show. But she is a cool character. I enjoy her as a character, not the show, so I like seeing her come in and, help them defeat the Dominators. I thought that was very cool. I like how, with the Dominators, they didn't just do, like, the classic, oh, we're just gonna fight a bunch of aliens who are trying to take over the world, we're gonna do, big alien fight through the whole entire thing. They made it more psychological throughout most of it, and, that's probably just the strategy to not have to do CGI for the Dominators for, like, the entire thing, to have to limit the amount of it, since, this is a TV show that came out, like, 5 years ago, so, it makes sense that they're gonna want to limit the amount of CGI they have to do, but I think they did it in a way that was really cool. With having the Dominators mind control some of the heroes, to have Flash and Arrow have to fight everybody else, which I thought that was really cool. Then, of course, they abduct all of the non-meta human heroes, and they put them into this hallucination where we see kind of a what-if scenario of, what if Oliver never went on the Queen's Gambit? What would his life be like now if 10 years ago never went on the Queen's Gambit, the ship didn't crash, he never got stranded on the island? What would his life be like? I think that was cool to kind of see that, to see Moira back, to see his father back, to see Laurel. We didn't get to see Tommy. I guess they're going to get the actor to come back for this, but they mention him They have Malcolm Merlin talk to Thea, saying stuff about Tommy, like, oh, he's off studying something, or I don't know. They say something. They reference him. I guess they just couldn't get the actor. But I thought that was really cool to kind of to see this what if scenario, to see, what their life would be like if he wasn't the Arrow, if they weren't heroes. What would their normal life be like? And we got to see, Slade Wilson shows up in the hallucination, and we get to see Oliver fighting him again, which he's always cool. Deathstroke is a really cool villain, so it was like seeing him when he comes back. And yeah, I think this storyline in that episode was much more interesting than the other storyline happening on Earth, where basically the heroes that are still on Earth are trying to figure out how to locate where they all went, and they have to do the classic, oh, we gotta get this thing from this person to do this thing, and, that's inherently not as interesting as seeing a hallucination of what if Oliver Queen never went on the Queen's Gambit. And I think that, it would have been cool to see, Barry Allen in it somehow, to see, like, oh, what is his life like? I mean, obviously, Barry isn't in the hallucination, he's still on Earth, but they could have had him as part of it to show kind of, what would he be doing? I think that would have been cool, but it also is, that was the Arrow episode, so it kind of makes sense they're not going to try to, they're going to keep it kind of contained to just Arrow stuff and not go to too much of Flash stuff, but I don't know. I thought it was cool seeing how everything is different in this hallucination. Then we get to the DC's Legends of Tomorrow episode, where, of course, since there's a lot of time travel with that, which I haven't watched DC's Legends of Tomorrow, but, that's a show I would watch. I simply don't have the time to, so I'm just going to stick to Arrow and Flash. But it's definitely a show that sounds interesting to me, so maybe I'll check it out at some point in the future. But just, they go back to the 1950s, and, when they know that the Dominators came to Earth before, and they try to, get information from one. They end up befriending one, and they think that that's going to help when they go back to the present. They think it's going to help try to, convince the Dominators not to, destroy all the metahumans, which is their overall plan. But that ends up making things a lot worse, and this ends up making Cisco realize, kind of forgive Barry for him going back in time and, messing up the timeline, because Cisco just did that there. Cisco goes back, he befriends the Dominator, thinks it's going to be good, he has the best of intentions, but then ends up making it a lot worse, and that he realizes that that's exactly what Barry did when he went back to save his mom, and then had to go back and change the timeline again, but things weren't different, and Cisco's brother is dead now, which is a lot of stuff going on in Flash Season 3. But I like that, that moment makes Cisco, realize that he shouldn't be mad at Barry, that it's not Barry's fault. Like, yeah, Barry did that, but he had the best of intentions while doing it, and he never meant for all of this to happen. Which, speaking of the consequences of Barry time traveling, that's also the revealed to be the reason that the Dominators are attacking now, because apparently they had a truce with Earth that if the metahumans didn't mess with time or something like that they wouldn't attack, and so when Barry messes with time, that somehow breaks the truce, and they come and attack Earth and try to destroy all the metahumans. They have this big metahuman bomb thing they try to drop onto Earth, and that would destroy all metahumans, and so obviously the Arrows are like, yeah, we're not gonna let that happen, so they end up stopping it. We get the heroes versus aliens battle, which is very cool. They had to have that at some point, but again, they wanted to limit the amount of it they had to do, so they saved it for the end, and it was cool. It was cool to see all the heroes coming together, fighting the Dominators, even though I don't really know a lot of the heroes there, because I only watched Arrow and Flash, so A lot of them were from DC's Legend of Tomorrow, which, again, I haven't watched, but it's still cool. It's still cool to see, you know, all of them together, all bunch of heroes fighting aliens. That's always going to be cool. That's always going to be epic. So they fight the Dominators, defeat the Dominators, destroy the bomb, and save the world. And then we get to the epilogue where they give Supergirl a thing to be able to open up a breach to their Earth anytime she wants to. Oliver and Barry, they go out for a drink, and they talk about how their lives aren't normal, but they're full, they're whole, because they both get a look at what their normal lives would be like. Barry gets that look when he goes back and saves his mother. Sorry to get into Flash again, but when he goes back to save his mother, in the Flashpoint timeline, he sees what his perfect life would be like if his mom never died, if his dad never died, what his perfect life would be like. And then obviously, in the Arrow episode of this crossover, Oliver gets to see his perfect life where, his parents never died, he's marrying Laurel, it's his perfect life, but it's not whole. He's like, yeah, this is normal life, this is perfect life, but it doesn't make me whole. The lives that make them feel fulfilled, are the lives as heroes, as, Oliver being the Arrow, Barry being the Flash. That's what gives their lives fulfillment, and not, having the normal lives that I think they always thought they wanted, but now that they finally see what it would be like, they're like, this is a lot better. So I thought that was cool. I liked that sentiment. Also, the kind of normal stuff that's kind of a theme of this crossover, because they also have Oliver say that he doesn't want Supergirl to do anything because he wants to have a sense of normal, and obviously having somebody who could fly around and shoot lasers from their eyes and have just basically every single power that's that's not normal. So he just tells her that he wants her to stand down, to not do anything, but then he realizes that she's a good person to have on the team. She's very powerful, and that nothing's normal in this in their world now. They have people with super speed and time travel and all this stuff, alternate universes, aliens trying to destroy the world. Nothing's normal anymore. So I like that they kind of make that theme of it, having Oliver realize at the end that his life is not normal, and that's, he wouldn't want it any other way. So I like that they did that. I think the crossover invasion was very good. Again, it's exactly what I imagined when I was thinking Arrowverse crossovers. It's cool to get all the heroes together to fight a threat, save the world. That's always awesome to see. You have it in the Avengers, you have it in Justice League, you have it here, and it's awesome. I think that they did a great job at just making this epic crossover event, and I very much enjoyed it. But that's all my thoughts on the crossover event Invasion. Please comment below your thoughts on the crossover and of the video, and remember to give this video a like, consider subscribing to the channel, and maybe check out some of my other videos. And with that said, that's a wrap.